Hello there, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is ChitChad and welcome to a new episode of Planet Coaster here on the channel where we are working on the Studios theme park. Super happy to be working on this park because it's been a while, so let's jump into it. Today we're going to be building some more assets and scenery for the taxi coaster. We're also going to be modifying the track layout a bit. As you can see, we are hollowing out parts of these shops, the storefront over here, because I thought it would be an interesting idea to have the coaster go through these buildings rather than up and over them. One of the reasons is the coaster itself is going a little bit too slow for my liking, so I thought this would help save on some speed. And also, we have an ending to the coaster where it goes through the queue building, and there's that helicopter reveal, which I thought was a really fun moment, so I wanted to add another moment like that to kind of help establish that, hey, this coaster is going to go indoor and outdoor earlier on. Plus, it just adds a really cool sightline for those walking by the coaster and going into the shops, which this shop building is actually going to be utilized as one of the contest entry winners. And real quick on that note, I just wanted to say thank you to Phileas, Potato, and Spooky Rick for their patience in regards to the contest. I know it's been a while since we announced those winners, and I just want you to know that we're going to continue working on the parts of the park that will utilize those images, those posters, and I just wanted to say thank you again for your entries and know that I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to add them to the park. So just keep a lookout because it's going to happen hopefully soon. We do have a couple of pre-recorded episodes already in the can for this park, but I am going to be working on the contest entry winner assets soon. I'm really looking forward to the MiKO arcade because that's going to utilize some 3D objects, and I've been wanting to jump into Blender and start making some 3D pieces. And I think the arcade would be a really good time to do that. And we can also utilize those pieces that are made for it for the Wario arcade that we have over in the Mario Park. So it's a bit of a win-win on that front too. And this will give me a good chance to kind of get familiar again building things inside of 3D, particularly in Blender, because like I said on a previous episode, when I was doing 3D animation and 3D modeling, I was working in Maya and 3ds Max, but I no longer have access to those because I am no longer a student, and those programs are a little expensive, a little outside my price range, so it's going to be fun to be working in Blender. It's a fantastic tool. It's a fantastic program for any of you that are interested in learning 3D modeling or animation. It is absolutely perfect for that. And real quick, I actually want to give a shout out in that regard to Miss Red Nebula. She has a wonderful tutorial series right now on how to create objects in Blender and how to properly set up 3D files for Planet Coaster. I've been watching the tutorials myself. They've been super helpful and I highly recommend them. She also has a bunch of amazing assets already created in her workshop. Some really cool animals. There's fish and sea turtles, and I think there is a zebra in there now. So some really cool stuff. Definitely recommend checking out not only her workshop, but her YouTube channel. So I will leave a link to that in the description down below. Definitely check it out. And another little bit of housekeeping. I just want to say thank you for all the warm welcomes that I received on the previous episode of the Mario Park. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded any content, been on social media or just YouTube in general. So I just wanted to say thank you for all the warm welcomes. It was a really nice thing to come back to, and definitely was away a lot longer than I anticipated, most of which was just because 2018 was a very difficult year, probably the most difficult I've ever had in my life, if I was being perfectly honest. And going into 2019 was still an extremely difficult time, just a lot of things going on and a lot of things having to be taken care of, but not all of it bad. Some of it was good, just had to, spend a lot of time with it. One of the things being the new house that Allie and I moved into, which we're both very thankful for, really appreciative that we were able to have this opportunity to move into this wonderful house. But the house came challenges, like everything in life. If it's good, you have to work for it. And the house is great, but there was a lot of work that we had to do to it, a lot more than we were anticipating or expecting. So that's one of the reasons why I was away for so long. It was just trying to get this house ready and and in a good place, because when some things were found out that were so bad that we weren't able to even move in until they were taken care of, and it was stuff that was supposed to be caught by professionals but wasn't, and so we had to get it taken care of. So it was a lot of stress, definitely a lot of stress. But now we're in a really good place with the house. I'm excited because I've been setting up my new studio, which is really cool because that means I can record whenever I want. And I don't have to worry about neighbors or people hitting the walls or dogs barking. Super excited. I'm literally like yelling and no repercussions of yelling. I'll never get a sound complaint or a noise complaint again. I'm so excited for that. So yeah, it's gonna be great recording whenever I want, when I want. It's awesome. And I've been slowly treating the studio with acoustic foam because I want to start doing some more voiceover content on my main channel. Some of that which is singing. I had a really fun time working on those Disney covers, and I want to do some more of those. Even though I'm not really good at it, I just have a lot of fun doing it, so I just want to continue to do that. But I need to get this studio up and going a little bit more. It's like halfway there. I would say it's about halfway there. Still some work to do, but I'm excited. I'll definitely be sharing pictures on social once it's kind of getting into a good spot, which it's almost there. Like I said, got some really geeky stuff all over the walls that are definitely helping with the sound in here. And I set up my display case of all my Power Rangers stuff. I have a lot of Power Ranger stuff, which is why we're gonna have a Power Rangers ride in this park, because yeah, love for Power Rangers is strong. Definitely the OG stuff. I like some of the newer seasons, but I'm definitely a fan of the originals for sure. So now we're working on the tunnel that's going to fit inside of the storefront and hopefully make it seem like it's all one piece rather than a bunch of, you know, different buildings kind of plugged into one another. And we are going to add a bunch of scenery elements that's pretty similar to the rest of the ride, just a bunch of road signage and lights and things like that. Pretty reminiscent to that, what is it, the Aerosmith coaster over at Disney's Hollywood Studio. I don't know if it's something different, if they've changed it. It's been a long time since I've been there. It's been a long time since I've even been to Florida. But I remember that ride being pretty dang cool. It's like, for those of you that haven't been on it, it's essentially the Hollywood version of Space Mountain. So there's just a lot of street signage and Hollywood theming elements, but most of it's in the dark anyways. In fact, I think I've talked about this, but I remember going to Disneyland and California Adventure when I was in high school. I think we were doing like a student film competition or something like that. And it was during, I don't remember, it was like some kind of themed thing they had going on where Space Mountain and what was at the time California Screamin' had the Red Hot Chili Peppers on it instead of the original soundtracks. So Space Mountain was Higher Ground and California Screamin' was All Around the World. And what was interesting about Space Mountain was they added theming elements that are very similar to what the Aerosmith coaster has, and it was just like a bunch of stage lights and signs and road signs and stuff like that. So it was very, very peculiar. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't kind of awesome hearing Red Hot Chili Peppers back in the day, but it was also like, who thought of this? Like, who thought of this? Like, I like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm perfectly fine with that, but like, who thought this was a good idea? Just adding a bunch of like strobing lights inside of Space Mountain. But they've shoehorned like a lot of themed things for Space Mountain. There's like the Star Wars stuff, which was actually kind of cool. And then they have the, what was it, the Ghost Galaxy. So Space Mountain's had all sorts of themed elements thrown in there. I guess when you have a blank canvas, you can basically do whatever you want to because the ride's just dark. So yeah, go crazy, I guess. So as you can see, we're starting to punch some holes in the building so we can reveal the coaster going through it. We're gonna add windows so people can actually see it, because what's the point of it going through the building? No one can see it, right? So I thought this would be a really fun element to the ride, and I can't wait to start theming and building out this storefront to be the Chatterbox gifts, which is one of the contest entry winners by Phileas. And it's going to be fun to also build those assets in 3D as well. Just create some merchandise, some like shirts and hats and stuff like that. Or maybe even some stuffed animals, like a Miko stuffed animal. That'd be adorable. I would totally have to make that. Speaking of animals, speaking of critters, we have added another one to the family. So we currently have Bucky the rabbit, Miko the chinchilla, and now we have Fox, the German Shepherd mix. Allie and I decided to add a new member to the family. Now that we have a home and a backyard, we've always wanted to have another dog. And we didn't plan on having a dog this soon moving in, but it's just wonderful timing because Fox is such a handful, but he's freaking adorable. We don't know exactly what he's mixed with, but we're pretty sure he's part Shiba. So he would be a German Shepherd Shiba mix. And he's got some characteristics that are very similar, and his temperament's pretty similar, and he's adorable. He is a ball of energy. And we adopted him from the pound, and we have him we're taking puppy training classes with him, and he goes to puppy daycare when we're at work. And it's so fun. It's so fun having a dog in the house, and he's just a super lovable goober. If you check out my Instagram, you'll see a bunch of posts of Fox having his like first puppuccino, which is always fun, and taking him to the dog park. So if you love animals as much as I do, my Instagram is essentially Miko, Bucky, and Fox. Like, they take over my Instagram more than anything that I ever post on there, which I am perfectly fine with because I love those critters to death. And I am actually thinking about ways of implementing them on some future projects. I think it'd be really cute to have them be a part of the videos that I create, just because they're a part of my life, and I think it'd be fun to have them be a part of it. So as you can see, we're going to continue just messing with this coaster, and a lot of it is just to give it more momentum, more speed, because like I said, the coaster is just a little bit too slow, and I'm being really picky for I know that I tend to work on things in length, but I've been very picky about this coaster because it is the first coaster of the park, and I want it to be really good. Similar to when I worked on the Yoshi coaster and the Mario park. Like, I think that was a couple of episodes too. But we will be working on some other things shortly in this theme park. I've got a couple of episodes already in the can, and I want this park to be more of like a functioning park, more so than the Mario one. In the Mario park, I don't really have any places that would be like emergency exits or where staff would be going in and out of buildings, because to me that wasn't the point of the park. I wasn't trying to make it super realistic. I was just trying to make a cool themed park from a guest perspective. But for this one, I want to actually think about, okay, emergency exits, where the coaster would actually need a break, or where there needs to be buildings for staff to enter. So I've just been trying to be more conscious of that in this build. So that's why I'm like placing down a bunch of gates, thinking about, you know, where they would need to be if the coaster's going really low to the ground. Then I'm gonna have to add some more of those, just because if anybody was walking through there, whether they're staff or otherwise, it would need to have some sort of safety measure. Which, something I think about every once in a while is that someone is paid to go onto roller coaster tracks and check every single section. And that genuinely terrifies me, to think that someone is like suspended up in the air, hanging from a coaster track, checking everything. Like, I think of Goliath over at Magic Mountain. The sheer scale of that ride terrifies me. Like, I'm a little bit afraid of heights. I think I've mentioned that before. With roller coasters, it's not so bad because it's over like that, it's done. And then the rest of it's just super fun. But Goliath in particular, I just think about that lift, that chain lift that just goes on for eternity, and it's terrifying. It's amazing, but it's terrifying. And just to think that someone has to go check that stuff, someone has to like make sure that it's all good. Like, hats off, golf clap to you people, because there's no way in heck I would ever be able to do that. Like, the rides that just take you up just to drop you, no, I'm not doing it. Like the Lex Luthor Tower that's like along the side of the Superman ride. I've been on the Superman ride, I can handle that one, but I will never ever go on the Lex Luthor one, because it's the anticipation. It's literally being slowly, sadistically just brought up higher and higher and higher, and then just left there to just consider your life choices and then drop. And I know it's over in a second, but it's just that waiting just terrifies me. And with Superman, it's terrifying for sure, but it's like, it's over. You go up, you go down. There's no fluff. It's just, it is what it is. It's all momentum. But with those drop kind of rides, it's like, oh, just leave them hanging in the air for a while and then drop. Like, no, I'm not about that. I can't handle it. Won't do it. Except for Tower Terror / Guardians. That's a little there's scenery, there's elements. It's in the dark, so there's like parts of it that kind of obscure the thought that, oh, I am really high up and I'm about to be dropped. Like, it's not so bad. Plus, it doesn't really drop you the full length of the elevator shaft, so it's not as scary, I guess. But if you can like literally see everything, like the moment where it opens up the doors and it's like, oh yeah, that's the outside, holy crap, we're up high, like that gets me a little bit, but it's still not so bad. When I see Lex Luthor and like the rest of the family like, let's go on, and I'm like, no, you could not pay me to do that. I will not. I refuse. I'll hold the bags. I will be the dad or the grandpa in this scenario. I'm like, you need me to hold your bags while you all go on that scary ride? I'll do that for sure. So yeah, there's a lot of aspects of this coaster that I've kind of themed around other rides, and we've talked about it on previous episodes, but there's elements of Rip Ride Rocket from Universal Studios in Florida, which is a really cool ride. There are elements of California Screamin' / the Incredicoaster now. I haven't been on the Incredicoaster. Last time I was in California Adventure, they were still working on it, but the part where it goes over the water and we have the water jets is kind of similar to the launch part of that ride. And then of course the Aerosmith roller coaster, which again, I'm gonna look it up right now because I don't even know. Is it still the same thing? I'm gonna Google. I've got time to kill. This episode's really long, and I'm gonna Google it. Is it still there? Is it the Rockin' Roller Coaster? Yep, starring Aerosmith. It's still there. Sweet. That's good to know. That coaster is pretty cool. I really like the theming elements to it. And thinking about theming elements, Frontier not too long ago released a new coaster, which was part of their 25th anniversary. It was some crazy number of track that we had to lay down as a community, and it released the F25 coaster. And if I remember correctly, the theming of it looks very car-like, so I don't know if I'd be able to just swap it out for the one that we have on the track right now. I'm pretty sure it's a different track layout, but if I can, maybe in the future episode, I might think about switching it, because the new one that they just added looks really stinking cool. And I don't know, something I don't normally do is talk about like performance of Planet Coaster, but I jumped into the game not too long ago to get some screenshots, and I noticed like the frame rate was crazy low, and I don't know what's going on. Normally I get pretty okay frame rate, but when I opened up the Mario Park, it was crazy slow. So I don't know if I need to go back in and mess with my settings. I haven't changed anything since the last time I recorded, or if one of the updates just kind of made things run a little bit wonkier. I'm not sure. For those of you that play Planet Coaster, if you are experiencing that, let me know, because I'm kind of curious. I just want to make sure that it's nothing that I did. And as you can see, overall, we're just kind of changing up the track a little bit. Like I said, it's all just to maintain that momentum and keep the speed of this coaster alive, and also just modifying some of the theming elements. In the next couple of episodes, we're going to be working on parts outside of the park, which includes a parking lot. I know, super exciting, but like I said, I want this park to be somewhat realistic. So we're going to be working on a parking lot, and we're going to be building a tram that takes people to and from that lot. And I also want to continue building things outside of this park, not just the parking lot, but also kind of like a city walk or downtown Disney area where there'd be like shops and restaurants and things like that. I just think it'd be really fun and potentially a cool theme for a future contest once we're done working on the winners for the previous one. I just think that'd be really fun. And with that being said, we are at the end of today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for all the amazing welcome backs. Really appreciate it. And I can't wait to share new content this year and build more coasters, do more art, and record more VOs. So thank you all so much, and as always, I will chat with you on the next episode.